One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown, and welcome to One Question, where we highlight executive leaders in college athletics. I'm here at the 2019 NACTIC convention, and I'm joined by Lamarr Pottinger. Lamarr is the Assistant Athletic Director for the J.T. and Margaret Talkington Leadership Academy at Texas Tech. Greetings, Lamarr. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it.
Now, Lamarr, your role is interesting because from what I understand there at Texas Tech, you're over student-athlete development, but including in your role is staff development, which is something that you said is important to the athletic director there, Kirby Hocutt. Tell me about how you guys define student-athlete development and then also how you interweave that staff development in your position there at Texas Tech.
Yeah, so at Texas Tech, student-athlete development is pretty much a holistic view. So we have our career, we have our character development, which is personal development, and then we have wellness and then leadership. So we keep those pieces separate from our staff development. Now, when it comes to staff, that's when we're looking at pouring into the people. So Kirby is really big on making sure we take care of our people and the people in the athletics department. So making sure that, yes, you can come to NACTA every year and you can go to all these professional development conferences outside, but how about we bring that to Texas Tech? So anytime we have a speaker, we make sure that we prep this speaker for the student athletes, but see, do they have some type of platform that they can talk to our staff about as well? So it could be financial literacy, yes, definitely for student athletes, but as adults, we need a little bit of budgeting, but even at a higher level, thinking about taxes or thinking about retirement plans or benefits and just how you can flip those and make those work as well. And I think just the continued education for our unit managers is going to be big. We haven't implemented that yet, but we're looking at doing some leadership development for our unit managers right now. And then the biggest piece of how we just separate the entire is just making sure we call it professional development for staff and then calling it career development for our student athletes.
The staff development part, that is interesting to me because it sounds like you guys say, yeah, we can send you to all this professional development outside, but in-house, we want you to do more than just work. Almost like, yeah, you get a paycheck from us, but our job is more than a paycheck here, right? Have you seen results of that? You've been in this role for 10 months there at Texas Tech, so evaluating the results of it probably hasn't really come up to see any long-term effects, but tell me about what you've seen from staff who have been to some of the things that you've brought on campus so far.
Yeah, I'm fortunate, Ty. I can't take all the credit. My boss, Amy Hurd, is really big on the professional development for staff. So the other piece of it is when we have maybe prominent members on campus, we take a time, an hour or 30 minutes to ask that person to speak to our staff, and we call that professional development as well. So we just had a compliance summit, Texas Compliance Summit. We had Stan Wilcox there, former AD at Florida State University. So knowing that he was an AD and now he's at NCAA, that's a lot of knowledge that a lot of people won't get. So we set up a 30 or 45-minute session, open Q&A, and everything happened. So we've done that a few times. Maybe if the Big 12 commissioner comes to campus, those pieces there, and 20, 30, maybe 10 sometimes come. The impact that we've seen, there's two pieces to it. One, there's more buy-in from the staff for what we do on the student-athlete development level, because they see how we interact with them, they see that we're pouring into them and how we are efficient in what we do, and now they buy into all the pieces that we do for our student athletes. And then the other piece is just when you walk in the hallways and somebody lets you know that speaker gave them 2 nuggets now that they're doing that work, right? And that's something that even just in the whole student development space that we're trying to, how do we measure this effectiveness? I mean, that's really how the conversations of, hey, was this good, was this bad? But if they come up to you like, hey, that was great. I never knew it takes this to be an AD. Or I never knew this about being an AD and reporting to the president, right? So just different items like that.
Since you've been there, have you been able to identify needs of the staff and, to where there may be things that they're interested in learning and you go out and find programming to bring that to them?
Yeah, we haven't done that intentionally yet. There's been requests for different things as far as maybe emotional intelligence. Our compliance senior AD wants us to do emotional intelligence with their staff actually in 2 weeks now. She saw what we did with our mentor program which I told you before is where senior executives mentor mid-level or low major or just staff, period. And we did a session for them, and then she's like, can you do this for us? So I think moving into next year, this summer, when we have our retreat, that's something we'll try to do is get filters out of what would they want to see so that we can get the most attendance and just make sure it's a good impact.
And buy-in, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of student-athlete development, the career development for the student-athletes, you guys recently hired a new football coach. There, Matt Wells there last December. And in the student-athlete area, in the industry, getting football on board is give or take, right? It's almost, sometimes you call it a crapshoot, but it seems like from talking to you that you've been able to really communicate well with Coach, and almost you onboard him to what you're doing and he onboards you to what he wants done, so you work together as a department with football and student athlete and career development. Tell me about that relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a team effort. When Coach Wells was first hired, he had to meet with everyone on senior staff just to see what their units does, just how it was in the past, and how we can move forward in the future. And my boss, Amy Hurd, made sure to meet with him and give him the full menu of what we do and what we want to do moving forward to have a great collaboration with football. And then the catch-22 is that his director of player development, Troy Kima, I did a few NCAA workshops with him. So I already knew him. He came from KU. He was an assistant AD over academics at Texas A&M, so he gets the other side, right? Like, he's not in it to be a coach or do it for the NFL. He just likes football player development. So that relationship with myself and him, and then the relationship between Coach Wells and Amy, has been great. Now, to lead to Troy always coming into our office, hey, what do you all have going on? Right, sending players, hey, you need to go to the Leadership Academy, get your resume done. You need to go to Leadership Academy to get community service done, right? Lamarr, what do y'all got going on tonight? Can they come? Is it mandatory? No? I'm going to make it mandatory, right? And we were fortunate enough to have our first event when they first got there. It was financial literacy with Eric Smith, and we made it required for all student athletes, but football made it mandatory and made sure that they had their GAs make sure that the guys are there. And the guys walked away and was just mind blown and just gave feedback, right? Feedback like, this was great, like I enjoyed it. It was quick, efficient, and knowledgeable. So to have that to be the first event and you get
from there, just
get A+, it was over after that. So now we've developed this summer a standing meeting. Obviously, summer is different travel. A standing meeting with Troy and the director of recruiting to collaborate on speakers, collaborate on recruiting visits, collaborate on one-offs for football, or maybe get feedback. Okay, we have this program over here. It's for all the student athletes. Hey, how can we shape it better a little bit for football student athletes? Cool. Like, let's talk about that, right? Because like you said, I mean, it's almost 120 student athletes, right? It's almost it's a little over 1/4 of our population. So you definitely have to make sure you give them a little bit of cater in that aspect, but also make sure that it's fair to all the other 400 plus student athletes.
You mentioned a couple of the stops where you were before. For the athletic director to emphasize the importance of staff development, and the football coach that comes in and says, hey, we want to work with you guys. We got our guy, but we think it's important that we all work together. Talk to me about that in terms of, like, does that make your job less stressful? I mean, obviously every job is stressful. We always got something to do, but to not have to pull teeth on the importance of development, whether it be staff or whether it be student athletes.
Anytime you can have collaboration, it just makes things easier. So to have the buy-in from the top down, and he says it, he speaks, and then now he serves as a mentor as well, is one thing. But yeah, having that collaboration for football does make our job easier. As long as we have buy-in from coaches, it makes it easier. And not even if it's buy-in from coaches, if we have buy-in from the player development staff, chief of staff, director of operations, that's where it works. I mean, the coach is coach, right? So if I have, I actually just got a text message from women's basketball, hey, can you come in for our camp and just go 20 minutes on leadership development? We want to get them a simulation of college, right? Coach Marlene is great. When I see her, smiles, hug, but I'm working with Tiffany all the time. So if Tiffany loves what we do, hey, coach, this is great. Do it, right? I'm working on X's and O's. We got to get ready for TCU this week. So it definitely makes it better when we can all collaborate, be on the same page, but then have open dialogue. If there's something that you don't like, we're going to listen. We're going to assess it. And then if it's something that we can't change, we'll let you know why we can't change it. And if we can, we always want to make sure that we serve our student athletes, coaches, and staff and just make those changes right.
Okay, and I'll wrap with this last question here, Lamarr. Amy Hurd, you mentioned her before. That's who you report to. Talk to me about how you guys evaluate the overall performance over the last 10 months, maybe at the end of a semester or end of the year, of the development you've done as a department.
Yeah, so, and that's something great that you asked, because we're actually moving forward, and I'm a big sharer, so I'll share this, but we're trying to create our scoreboard, right? So student athlete development and development period is sometimes always subjective, right? So if you can get, we had 100 people there, right? That's great numbers, but the speaker was horrible. There's no impact, right? So now we're looking at this is our quantitative scoreboard. This is our qualitative scoreboard. So that's something that we're working on moving forward. But the great thing about Amy is she comes from a fundraising background. So when I came in, one of my probably blind spots is just tracking and really being able, I can sell it, but hey, where's the data, right? What do they do? So she's created something called a brag sheet, because she wants to speak us up all the time. And now that brag sheet, so from going from 8 SAC members to 30, right? Those are the quantitative, but now the engagement level is kind of the qualitative level, right? More buy-in, speaking up during different SAC meetings. Those pieces there, just different. Now they want to volunteer to do different leadership development conferences at the NCAA. So that's kind of how we've done it so far.
Right, and so sounds like you guys are defining the terms and defining what you'll use qualitatively to measure the results of what you're doing. And that's an in-depth process, but it's good to do so you'll know whether or not you'll be successful. Lamarr, this has been an excellent conversation. I really appreciate you joining me here on One Question.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate being on.
That was Lamarr Pottinger. He's the Assistant Athletics Director for the J.T. and Margaret Talkington Leadership Academy at Texas Tech. And of course, this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.